Now time to decide who will be our Minimax champion for well, not just Minimax, but Minimax Rookie. Here's the grid. Mick Klinkers and Gage Moyes start on the front row. Julian Dummer and Milano Shiphorst, row 2. Tren Van Melk and Jim Darnan, row 3. Sasha Al-Jabral and Dimitar Lazarov round out the top 4 rows, with Nicky Narohito Tomasi and Julius Grabau rounding out your top 10. Max van der Meer and Pelle van Echtelt on row 6. Jara Kiewicz-Bosch and Tiger Holthausen on row 7. Lawrence van Vlaanderen and Mika Volk, row 8. Theo Verheer from Ireland and Matthias Clever from Belgium round out row 9. Completing the top 20, Noah Stehouder and Julien Janssen, with Arno Hardstra, Louis Maes, and then Leon Kamhad rounding out your 23-strong grid. Minimax, it's a 17-point spread between Gage Moyes, Mick Klinkers and Tiger Holthausen. In Minimax Rookie, Tren Van Melk leads Jim Darnan by 11 points. So with these drivers, once again, it is 13 minutes plus 2 additional laps that will decide the fate of one, well, not just one individual, but several individuals. And as we saw in the Minimax pre-final earlier on today, what a race that was. Battling here, battling there, up and down the order. As now these drivers want to get underway, first time of asking. As they say, there is no time than the present. Gage Moyes needs to win this race to get the job done in terms of the Minimax title. All Tren Van Melk needs to do is stay ahead of Jim Darnan, and that is that for Minimax Rookie. The drivers will now go past the red line of no return. Red lights on the gantry for one final time to decide our 2025 Minimax and Minimax Rookie champions. Into the tram lines we go. Revs rise. Lights are not out. Not sure what happened there. Okay, looks like the full stop flag has been shown, but the lights did not go out. There was a little bit of a flicker. So it is going to be another formation lap. So once more, these drivers will get into the 2x2. Indianapolis, well, what would be known in what we know in karting as a rolling start, in more like, say, sports car categories, they would call it an Indianapolis style start. So it is 2x2, it is side by side, but more to the point, now get this, if Mick Klinkers wins this race ahead of Gage Moyes, it will be one single point that will decide what happens for the Minimax title. And I think I've seen it where a handful of points, I think at lowest, I think 2 points, one particular year on a championship I was commentating on. The champion won it at the last race of the last round of the season, and it was 2 points. But with a slightly stronger strategy game in place, For 13 minutes plus 2 additional laps, the drivers will have to have their heads on a swivel. So it's Klinkers, Moyes, Duma, Shiphorst, Van Melk, Danen, Al-Jabral, Lazarov, Naruhito Tomasi and Cabal that round out your top 10. Lights ignited on the starting gantry once again, ahead of 13 minutes plus an additional lap of racing. Out of the final corner come the drivers. They split, head into the tram lines, revs rise, lights are out, and the final is go. Let's see what happens on the run down to turn 1. Cage Moyes is very much in danger of losing that second place, but able to use the runoff area, which they're able to use on lap 1. It's only that runoff area and that alone that they can use. So Cage Moyes, at the meantime, has kept with Mick Klinkers. Now as they go into turn number 5, as Julian Dummer finds himself down into what is 3rd place. Trent Van Melk a little bit further back. And that will be in 6th as all. Julian Dummer to the inside of Mick Klinkers, and that might be another driver. Milano Shiphorst trying to muscle in on what is happening in front, and Cage Moyes hits the front end of the field. That's exactly what he needed at this early point of the race. And now it's a squabble over P3. And it looks to be Julian Dummer has got a hold of that position. It's 4 wide. Oh my goodness me. That is not going to go well. And they just about get away with it. Jim Darnan, I think, was one of the drivers to the outside. Trent Van Melk losing a handful of places as it's nearly 3 wide going through turn 4. And now into turn 5, 4 wide coming out of the corner. Oh no, but Cage Moyes is stopped on the left-hand side of the exit of turn 5. And Cage Moyes, mechanical drama, strikes the Birlart driver and he knows it's all over. Cage Moyes, all he had to do was finish ahead of Mick Klinkers, and Klinkers now has a clear road. I cannot believe it. Heartbreak for Moyes. He tried to restart the engine, but it was to no avail. As Cage Moyes now moving over to what will be Marshall Post 3. And now, one of the more heartbreaking things is that Cage Moyes is going to have to watch this race from the sidelines. And also, Arno Hodstra has also retired from the race, but meantime, Julian Dummer ahead of Jim Darnan, so there has been a change for 2nd position, but more importantly, Cage Moyes on lap 2, coming out of turn 5. The cart broke down on him suddenly and without warning. So Mick Klinkers will lead us on to lap number 4 of this race. And at the moment, well, I don't think Jim Darnan will have done enough to usurp Sven Van Melk in terms of how the rookie championship will come about. I think the gap will close, but it just depends on what happens over the next 9.5 minutes, plus an additional 2 laps of racing here at the home of champions. Now, after 3 laps, the lead between Mick Klinkers and Julian Dummer was exactly 1 second. We now will complete lap number 4 And Julian Dummer has closed that gap by nearly 2/10. There's an absolute free-for-all in the mid-pack. So with the likes of Niki Naruhito Tomase, Julius Grabau, Yara Kiewicz-Bosch has moved up 3 places, now currently 10th, ahead of Noah Stehauder, who's made up 8 places from 19th at the start. But now there's a bit of side-by-side action. That's Tiger. I think that might be one of which was Pelle van Echtel. Was that maybe Tygo Holthausen to the immediate left-hand side? Well, the 2 drivers respectively were wheel to wheel for a multitude of corners. And Tygo Holthausen now up into P5. Holthausen up from 14th at the start, now hits the top 5 itself. Noah Stehauder up 11 spots, now is 8th. As one of the drivers went all 4 wheels into the air. Just spotted Julian Janssen in the 123, who has got Theo Freire just behind in the 155 for GKS. But 21 out of the 23 drivers still circulating. A little bit further up the field, there is change of foot. And I would imagine that's now 2 going side by side into turn 10. I think that might be the battle between Noah Stehauder and Pelle van Echtel, I believe. There are still some great battles up and down this order as we have 6 1/4 minutes to go. Oh, but the 155, Theo Freire loses, gets the snap-on of oversteer. Matthias Clever manages to get through on him, the Belgian with Brazilian roots. And at that point, well, Freire gets back through on Clever at that point. And here is the battle for 2nd and 3rd. Julian Dummer from Germany versus the Netherlands' Jim Darnan, who is the fastest out of anybody out on the circuit. Last lap around was a 1:02.542 for the 124. Then you got Milano Schipphorst, Tygo Holthausen, Niki Naruhito Tomase, and Noah Stehauder, who's made up 12 places, now runs a genuine P7 on the road. And Holthausen gets through. Schipphorst drops to 6th, behind Naruhito Tomase. But look at how quickly Julian Dummer and Jim Darnan are closing in on Mick Klinkers. They are really starting to push, and Jim Darnan was over a 10th quicker, 0.114. And Noah Stehauder's just gone quickest of anybody. Down in 7th at 1:02.219. And I think Milano Schipphorst might either have lost P6 or is very close to losing it. Top 3 last time round after 7 laps were covered by just over 8.5 tenths of a second. After lap 8, that gap is now 0.883. Sven van Melk, oh right, now there's some developments happening. Niki Naruhito Tomase is 2nd in rookie. Noah Stehauder now up into P7, 3rd in rookie. Dimitar Lazarov, Sasha Al-Jabrail and Pelle van Echtel round out the top 10. They are all rookie drivers, so that is Sven van Melk is 7th. So that could be, well, Jim Darnan at the moment has showed the pace. So whether that might be, we've already had Gage Moyes lose out by a technical drama. But the big thing is, Trent van Melk last time round did a 105.3. And in comparison with Jim Darnan, who just did a personal best, 1 minute 2.373, Trent van Melk is hemorrhaging time. Noah Stayhouder now through on Nicky Naruhito Tomasi. Noah Stayhouder is absolutely flying and is closing in on Tygo Holthausen for 4th place. Meantime, in the middle of that picture, Leon Kamrad, who's made up 9 spots from 23rd and last on the grid, is really starting to push forward as well. And that's Julian Janssen, and just in front of them they have got... That's Trent van Melk! Trent van Melk is being assaulted from both sides going into turn number 6. And Trent van Melk still holds on to 7th. So Jim Darnan, oh, that was shades of Callum Bradshaw at Kartmasters from a couple of years ago. Leon Kamrad saying, hello there to Trent van Melk going down into turn number 10. If anyone remembers the Cooey, remember me, Callum Bradshaw moment from Kartmasters a few years ago, I know Henry Baudet does. And now Trent van Melk is all the way down in 14th. He's lost out to Pelle van Echtelt. He's lost out to Leon Kamrad and Trent van Melk's lap times. That was a 1 minute. That was a 1 minute 5.7. This is not what Trent van Melk needs right now, because this could give Jim Darnan the championship title. And in the meantime, well, it depends on obviously how far down. It also depends on the points, because Minimax and Minimax Rookie, there are respective points. So it would be 52 for a win, 55 for a win, 52 for second, 50 for third. So Trent van Melk knows that there needs to be a bit of fight at this point. We are finally coming down to the final few moments of this race. And whilst this is all happening, oh, bit of a robust move happening from Max van der Meer. I think possibly in Julian Janssen. So Jim Darnan could be in that positional window. Oh, there's been a tangle coming out of the final corner. And that involves Max van der Meer and Julian Janssen. They tangled going through out of turn number 12. And you can see how frustrated Max van der Meer is at the moment. And Trent van Melk at the minute is still 7th. So this could be an ultra decisive moment. But Mick Klinkers is getting closer and closer to the end of this race. on what will be a very, very much season decider. And it is now the final lap of the season. Mick Clinkers has been able to keep a calm head on cool shoulders. So I'm not too sure whether Jim Darnham might have just done enough, because he's kept with, for as long as he can, Julian Dummer. But Mick Clinkers is just a handful of corners away. Despite the dramas, it could have been a really interesting battle between this man and Cage Moyes. But Mick Clinkers comes out of the final corner and becomes the 2025 Mini Max champion. Julian Dummer finishes in P2. Jim Darnham takes P3, has that secured the Mini Rookie title for the number 124. Got to wait and see where Trent van Melk ends up. And at this point, well, Mick Clinkers can finally celebrate. My heart goes out, as I think everyone else should do, for Cage Moyes. You don't want anything bad to happen to an opponent. And let's just see, Trent van Melk finishes 7th. So, in the rookie class, finishes 12th overall. Matthias Clever made a great old comeback, but has Trent van Melk, probably by a whisker, taken the title. There are your provisional results in the final, but congratulations to Mick Clinkers, 2025 Chrono Karting Dutch Mini Max champion. It might have been the case he might have just done enough, and there we go. Now it sets in, Trent van Melk. This is one of the things I love about this lap of honour that we do here at Chrono Karting. And you can just see the sense of relief that Trent van Melk, I think, has taken the title, and with it will get the lap of honour. Now, I'm wondering what's happening. I think they're radioing saying, where on earth is Mick Clinkers? Because if he's gone in the pit lane... But look at that. Trent van Melk, all filled with the joys of spring. And spring 2026 is not that far away, folks. There we go. On cue, Mick Clinkers. But there is... You know what? That young man, Cage Moyes, has nothing to be ashamed of. Fought every single hurdle, every single way this year. So, but for the second time today, they're just being instructed on how the lap of honour will be, how it will take place. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give your appreciation for your 2025 Chrono Karting Mini Max and Minimax rookie champions. The 104 of Mick Clinkers takes the Minimax title, and also the 118 of Tren Van Melk takes the rookie division. So, yes, that does mean one hand on the wheel whilst holding the flag, Tren. Don't want you accidentally spearing off and inadvertently collecting Mick at the same time. But congratulations to these two young drivers as they take the lap of honour here at Karting Genk.